Most people don't think twice about crossing the US border. But most people aren't driving a lifted Subaru packed for whatever the road throws at them. This weekend, the adventure takes us across the Alberta prairies to the US border and into Montana for one epic Subaru weekend. So let's go hit the highway. And why exactly are we jumping on the highway, leaving Calgary, and heading down south into Montana? Well, I'll tell you why, but you won't see it in this video. Today, we're going to what's known as the big thing at the Overland Ranch. And well, Subaru USA and the Subi crew invited me out there to go hang out for the weekend, check out the event, and have a great time. So that's exactly what we're doing. Today, we'll be driving from Calgary all the way down south through the Alberta prairies into Montana and eventually right by Three Forks, Montana, checking out the Overland Ranch. We're going to be crossing international borders today in my, well, overloaded, maybe, Subaru Forester. And this isn't the first time we've done a border crossing with this car. So today, I'm going to show you how you can take your adventure vehicle and hit international boundaries. And the thing about driving these roads is there's not a lot going on. You do pass through the occasional small town, or in this case, just drive right by it. But other than that, it's pretty much farmland and fields. So there's not a ton to see, but it does make for a pretty peaceful drive. Obviously, I would much rather drive through the mountains, you guys know, but we have done a couple of ventures down here when we went down to the Kookanusa last year and went into that area, but we're going a little more east of that this time. So it's pretty much prairies all the way down into Montana, where we will be crossing the border. Crossing the border, so I've done it a few times for sure. The thing with doing it, let's say for your vacation or travel rather than like an overlanding thing, is when you're overlanding, you have a lot more stuff loaded up in your car. So your vehicle is a lot more loaded up. And then a lot of times you'll have food and stuff. So you gotta be careful of what you can actually bring across the border. And I'll touch on that a little bit later as we talk about when we actually cross. Obviously I can't film that exact process because that is just not allowed. But we will go ahead and talk about the process of doing the border crossing once we get down there. We still got 3 more towns to go through in about, I think, 200 kilometers, which means our 600 kilometers to go. We do have quite a few areas to explore into Montana. So I'm looking forward to it. I've never actually driven straight south of Alberta in my Forester. The farthest I've kind of done is like the Flathead area years ago. And obviously our abandoned border crossing video that we did last year. So this will be new areas to explore. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we can actually find down there and maybe scout some new spots for some future adventures. With the Forester loaded up, we made our way across the prairies and onto the main highway, which, living here, isn't the most interesting, before finally turning off onto a side road that would take us to the border. I'd much rather drive on roads like this rather than the big 4-lane highway. These 2-lane roads that are non-divided take you through some much nicer scenery. And well, we did make a decision to turn off the main highway because essentially if you're going into Montana, you have 3 crossings from Alberta, well, BC, or Montana. The first one you've seen us do, Kookanusa. That one takes us into the mountains, beautiful beaches and campsites around there. We've done that, you've seen that. There's 2 other crossings. So Coots, which is very popular, and if you watch my members only videos where I talk about the process of importation of goods into the Canada for flat for off-road, we've talked about Coots. It's a big commercial hub. It is usually pretty busy, but they have lots of lanes. Or you can go through the other one, which I believe is called Carsland, Carstairs, Police Outpost. There's a few different names, but we are now getting close to that, as that's the one we chose to do because I haven't done it in a very long time, and I thought might as well. It's actually about the same distance and same time as the Coots one. So we might as well try this one and check it out. It also gives us a view of this amazing drive through here. So as we get close to the border, we're about 60 some kilometers, actually 50 kilometers now, because my map is saying it'll switch over. And I seen a sign that gave us the hours. So this one will only open from, I believe it's like 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. or something. So you got to be wary of that. I believe Coots is 24/7. But we can see the mountains kind of rising over the prairies now. We still get the epic prairie views, but now there's a little more valleys. There's actually some wind turbines. It's actually a beautiful drive in here, much better than that 4-lane highway. So if you are looking to kind of do a little bit better and a nicer drive, definitely take the side road and honestly enjoy it.
Where's home?
Calgary. Overlanding and camping event.
Nothing to declare.
Nothing to declare.
All tobacco, fire, nothing.
Nothing. We made it to Montana. So we still have about half the drive to do, but we are in Montana. The border crossing was extremely easy. And as I said, I've done the border crossing quite a few times. But this time, again, it's typically the smaller ones. They're pretty chill. It's just, do you have anything to declare? And obviously, when they ask you that, they're more asking like tobacco, alcohol, or firearms. But if you're carrying food and stuff, that is something that you should declare if it's fresh fruit or fresh meat or that kind of stuff. But most of the time, they understand you're going to be carrying some food for personal use, so it's not a huge issue. But it went really smoothly. They're always pretty friendly at these border crossings. So honestly, if you're worried about it, for the amount of times I've done it, it's not a huge deal. And you'll do just fine if you don't freak out, don't make the questions harder than they need to be. Just simple answers. Make sure you have your itinerary in your head. Don't be like, I don't know what it is, because then they're going to get a little suspicious. But we're now here in Montana, in the state of Montana, which means we get to go ahead and explore south, because I've never done that, and I'm looking forward to seeing what it has. As soon as we hit the 10 kilometers to the border crossing, it started getting really hilly, foothills and then we got this beautiful mountain range, so Waterton National Park. I still got to make a video of camping down there, but we have a beautiful Waterton Park that it goes both on the Canadian and US side, but it's absolutely amazing. And we're kind of going through these foothills now, which just makes the drive so much more fascinating. The last time I was on this road, I can't even remember what it looked like, and we're going farther south than I ever have in Montana. So now I'm really excited. Now that we've made it through the border, I'm really excited to see what Montana has to offer. It looks like we're going to be going through some mountains here. I'm not 100% sure. I didn't do a lot of research besides just mapping the route and seeing which way was the fastest, but also got the most views. So you're going to be exploring it with me as we drive down to, the big thing. I'm looking really forward to it. It's going to be really cool to meet some people that I know on the internet for a long time, and check out one of these events as an attendee. A lot of time, we're running Flat 4 Off-Road as a vendor at these events, so it's cool just to be able to hang out, chill, talk to some people, and check out an event down here. And as soon as I started talking about the amazing views of the mountains, we turned east, turning away from them, and kind of made our way towards the foothills, where we have these little mini mountain passes almost. It's kind of cool, but we don't get as nice a view of the mountains. I can still see them here and there as we kind of dip into valleys, but most of the time we're going up and down through these foothills, and I believe to a major highway that's going to get us kind of in the right direction again, heading back south, because we kind of, as I said, there's Coots, which is completely flat land, and then there's this border crossing, which is a little more interesting, and it gives us a little bit better views. And check out that view. It is still a little bit like Alberta, but if you're unfamiliar with that area of Alberta and you're driving through here, you'd think this is a pretty awesome view. I mean, you can see the mountains down there, you can see the valley, the sweeping foothills, and I thought it was just a good time to go ahead, take a break, stretch your legs, and enjoy this amazing place. It's definitely, as I said, very similar to Alberta, But I think as we get more that way, we'll get more into the what we call the Badlands in Alberta, but more of the like kind of rocky stuff like Drumheller and stuff. But we'll have to see as we continue making our way to the expo after we enjoy this view for a little bit. And as we made our way back onto the road, we passed through more prairies and small towns before the landscape started to change. Whoa, look at that. Things are definitely changing now. We're kind of going down into this valley, and just looking on Gaia maps here, looks like we're actually going to be going through this little range here. It doesn't look like it's super high altitude, but we are at 1,200 meters. So we should get some pretty cool views as we kind of go through those passes and then down on the other side. It looks like it's called Wolf Creek. As I said, I've never been in this area before, and well, honestly, that last little like two and a bit hours weren't very interesting. But now look at that. That is absolutely epic. I haven't really seen formations like this really ever. Maybe the closest would be like Cache Creek out in BC, but this is definitely something a little bit different, and it's really cool to see. So I'm looking forward to this last little portion of the drive as we make it through Wolf Creek, and then there's a little bit of a lake, it looks like, before we finally make it to the big thing. We once again traded highways, now on a freeway that made its way into the mountains. And while it was on the freeway, it was still pretty cool to kind of snake through those mountains there. It looks like that's probably the only kind of pass we're gonna get to through this trip, because it looks like it smoothens out a little bit, and then we got a lake. This definitely reminds me, back there, it reminds me of the dryness of like Headley. And if you do the south route through British Columbia and Calgary and stuff, it reminds me of that. The tall peaks, rocky, jagged, dry peaks, and then you kind of go and snake through the mountains there. And then the rest of it, as we're kind of getting into the construction, feels like the rest of BC and our BC adventures, where we're always hitting construction. I think I said it at the start of this video too. It's like, it's not summer without a little bit of construction. We are getting close. We're within an hour and a half. So close-ish, closer than 7 hours. The original check-in was supposed to be by 6 p.m. I'm not making that, but that's what happens when you're driving 7.5 hours, and then with the filming, with getting gas, with stopping and doing all that stuff, it adds up quite a bit of time. I had an extra 2 hours in there. I guess I should have added an extra 3, but it's still, as I said, an amazing drive through places I've never been. I've definitely been marking off some spots that I think could be potential campsites. I'm gonna have to explore the land maps and then maybe do a trip down here sometime. Let me know if that's something you'd like to see. As the afternoon light faded into the evening, we made our way through the prairies before finally turning off the freeway for one last time onto a side highway that would take us to the big thing. And we are all checked in. We got figured out where Subaru is, so we can go find the Subaru crew here in a second. But we just had to check in, get our badge, Overland journal, and all that fun stuff. So we are now good to go. Find Subaru, and then we'll get set up, and that will pretty much end today's very long journey. And check that out. There is a lot of people. I mean, this is like the big Overland event of the year in this area. I know we have like Pacific Northwest and all the other Overland events, but this is the biggest one I think for this area. So it makes sense. There is a lot of vans. And then I see the Subaru group, because there's a couple brand new Subarus, and then obviously Carrie's Mountain Subi's awesome neon Subaru. I'm seeing if there's a particular Subaru I will be looking for here. I want to see if he's here yet. I don't know if he's here yet. Oh yeah, I see him. You guys will know in a minute here. But yeah, I recognize this Subaru, and you guys will recognize it too. Hello! Only took 10 hours! How's it going? Hi, nice to meet you all. Hey, nice to finally meet you as well. It's been a few years of talking online. Hey, good to see you. And there we go. We made it to the big thing. So we're obviously gonna get set up, and I'm definitely gonna be doing a video out here. So you're gonna have to look out for that, because today was focused on, well, doing the 10-hour drive from Calgary down here into Montana. But we'll go ahead, get set up, and enjoy the night before we close off today's video. And with our tent quickly set up, we made our way down to the hub for the welcome ceremony.
This is the farthest north.
And then after, we chatted with a few people and enjoyed the scenery before we eventually made our way back to the camp for the night. And we're all set up and spent a little bit of the evening down at the hub, meeting people and, well, getting to know the event and everything that's going to be going on. So this video is definitely not going to be what the big thing is about. This was all about our border crossing and making the 10-hour drive from Calgary down here. So it was quite the adventure. Border crossing went really smooth. Sometimes not so smooth, especially with something that's completely loaded up and it's got a lot of your overlanding gear on it. But for us, it didn't cause a problem. And we had a great adventure and a great drive down here. I've never got to explore this area. So look forwards to the next video where we get to check out the big thing and then an adventure on the way back to Calgary.